the South African and United States escalation, or their spat again has been escalated. This morning, President Donald Trump actually not disinvited, uninvited South Africa from the next G20 summit that will be held in Florida in the United States. Now, I would like to analyze this from the start. What happened now? What was the response of President Donald Trump? What was the response from President Cyril Ramaphosa? What should have been the response of South Africa's president or South Africa in general? And we will look at, those things before I share with you my reflection or my opinion, okay? So this is a tweet that President Donald Trump shared on X. Here is how it reads. Let me try to zoom it. The United States did not attend the G20 in South Africa because the South African government refuses to acknowledge or address the horrific human rights abuses endured by Afrikaners and other descendants of Dutch, French, and German settlers. To put it more bluntly, they are killing white people and randomly allowing their farms to be taken from them. Perhaps worst of all, the soon to be out of business New York Times and the fake news media won't issue a word against this genocide. Well, let's call it alleged genocide, okay? For him, it's genocide. So he continues, that's why all the liars and pretenders of the radical left media are going out of business. At the conclusion of the G20, South Africa refused to hand off the G20 presidency to a senior representative from our U.S. embassy, who attended the closing ceremony. Therefore, at my direction, South Africa will not be receiving an invitation to the 2026 G20, which will be held in the great Miami, Florida next year. South Africa has demonstrated, this is again part of his text on X, South Africa has demonstrated to the world who they are, not a country worthy of membership anywhere, and we are going to stop all payments and subsidies to them, effective immediately. Thank you for your attention on this matter. I mean, this is really laughable from all the country. It's the United States now who is sanctioning or uninviting South Africa. So just to take you a little bit back in May 2025, meaning this year, you all know Donald Trump has accused allegedly South Africa committing white genocide of those white farmers. If anything, those white people are well off and live better than any Black African in South Africa. And showing he blasted or embarrassed President Cyril Ramaphosa and his delegation unprepared by playing a film there and showing also the burial places of those white people allegedly whom he calls them, there's a genocide committed against them. But later on, I mean, in less than 24 hours, people have been able to locate that burial place was in fact in Democratic Republic of Congo, not even in South Africa. You all seen the video when Cyril Ramaphosa, the president, was asking, are you sure is this in South Africa? And Trump goes saying, yes, it's in South Africa. Anyway, now fast forward, G20, for the first time, it was held in South Africa, and following South Africa's membership, which was accepted a year ago. So in this meeting, Donald Trump said South Africa has failed to acknowledge that it has committed genocide against the white people in South Africa or the Afrikaners, so he will not participate. That was his decision. Regardless, there were US business people there who participated in that. So now, traditionally, what happens is the one who is hosting the G20, who was the chair, who is holding the chairmanship, that now being South Africa, will pass it to the document and everything in a ceremonial way to the next chairperson, which is the US. So now the US not there, not represented. So Donald Trump wants his ambassador, not even ambassador, by the way, it is a charge d'affaires, okay, it's below ambassador, to go because there is no ambassador, to go and accept, or to have that ceremony, to accept that traditional ceremony, like it is the head of state of the United States, as if it was not enough that they were dissed, that without the presence of the US president. So what did South Africa do? South Africa put, no, we are not doing this. So they just called that charge d'affaires, the embassy people, and in their foreign affair, in the department which is responsible for the United States, and in a low key, they transferred this chairmanship to the United States, okay, with a low key, not really where all heads of states are there in the G20 summit itself. Now, following this message of Donald Trump, South Africa, also the president office, has released a message which I would like to share with you. And that's where my question is, does it even matter how South Africa should have responded to this arrogance of the United States? This is a message I want to share with you, a statement from the president office. It's too little, too late, or very soft. I mean, the United States needs to be communicated in a language that it understands. It's arrogance what it understands right now under this administration. So it's in that way it should be reciprocated. Let's bring that statement. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole statement, so I will just read here where I highlighted it. Here it is. Okay, South Africa is a member of the G20 in its own name and right. Its G20 membership is at the behest of all other members. South Africa is a sovereign, constitutional, democratic country and does not appreciate insults from another country about its membership and wars in participating in global platforms, because the United States says it's not worthy. Now, South Africa respects the sovereignty of all countries and will never insult or demean another country or its standing or worthiness in the community of nations. Continues, a number of US entities, such business and civil society organizations, participated in large numbers in G20 related activities such as B20 and G20 social. South Africa values their participation. Let's read the last one. It's regrettable that despite the efforts and numerous attempts by President Ramaphosa and his administration to reset the diplomatic relationship with the US, President Trump continues to be vindictive and seek to apply punitive measures against South Africa based on misinformation and distortions about our country. Okay, that is kind of the gist of the message shared by the presidential office of South Africa. Now, let me come back to my own analysis, okay? So we have analyzed what happened before, what happened now, what the Donald Trump said, what the presidential office of South Africa responded, okay? Now, in my opinion, President Trump's childish behavior have been entertained so far, and because this is not the first time President Donald Trump, because of the Ukraine-Russia war, it has tossed out Russia's membership of the G8. Now it has become G7, you remember? And then now he's repeating it with this G20, and he is going to take out South Africa. And the wallets and those heads of states just watch what is happening without coming up a proper reaction to it. So with that being said, what Ramaphosa should have done is, because this is not the first time Donald Trump is trying to bash him or to attack him. This is for the second time, okay, in a row. They are not really leaving South Africa. They want South Africa to kneel down. It's not the real reason, not because really South Africa has committed genocide against white Afrikaners. You have seen so many white Afrikaners and their own delegation denying that. I mean, crimes happen. In fact, those who are the Black Africans are the most who are impacted by these crimes, okay? So what Ramaphosa should have done is, before the conclusion of the G20 summit, he should have gathered, find some of them who have a close relationship, like President Modi of India. Is he Prime Minister? No, President? I don't know. Anyway, Prime Minister Modi, right? Of India, and get him to collect or to gather others and then come up with a collective response. This should have been a statement from collectively from all G20 summit. I mean, play around the language, it doesn't matter, but make it collective. That would have been a very hard comeback or hit back against Donald Trump, because what Donald Trump saying does not anyway represent the whole of United States. If it was, those business people will not take part of this G20 summit. So it wasn't really that strong. It's very diplomatic what they have communicated. Now, the other question, what people, if speaking of diplomacy, has Ramaphosa, I mean, my South African people will come here and correct me, not Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa should have done is, if there is anything that Ramaphosa have tried, yes, I think he has done more than enough. You remember when the first genocide, that alleged genocide narrative came up by the United States, he talked to him over the phone, and he went with all his ministers. He flew to the United States. He went to the White House, having also his white ministers, as now there's a coalition, the government union. It's not only the ANC who is in power. So taking them and talking there, what did Donald Trump do? He embarrassed him in front of the world. In fact, that was an embarrassment also against the African people, telling him, look, these are the people that South Africa has killed. Allegedly, this is a genocide. Not allegedly, he used the word, this is a genocide against the white people. And you have to do something. And you have to also take out some of the opposition parties. Like Malema, he played his video. And the songs that they sing during when they the war against or the struggle against apartheid, as if that is a song created or invented by Julius Malema. So he told him, why you don't ban him from the parliament? No, we are not such a parliament. It's open and everybody is entitled to express their ideas, but he at least should have said the song what you put on a film should have is taken out of context. He did not defend enough Malema. Anyway, that happened. But what did he do? He still invited him to come to South Africa, and then he took also the delegation of what was that game that they are golf, right? He invited him for a golf game. And what was that game? That's the other type of soccer that the South Africans are known, they're champions in the world. Somebody write it in the comment section. Also, he brought those, knowing that Trump loves that sport. He tried really every possible diplomatic way, and he presented him the history of that golf thing or whatever, a 14-kilogram book, and all that didn't work. Guess what? Trump ditched this G20. That's the first time historically being held in Africa. So all this didn't work. So Ramaphosa has tried everything, so it didn't work. So what does it work now? What should Ramaphosa should do to defend, to defend South Africa? So what he should do is that brings us, he should speak in a language how United States understand. The thing is that President Donald Trump, he's a business. He thinks transactionally. That's how it is. Any deal, peace deal, or whatever, it's all transactional. So look at he imposed that 50% tariff on India because of India's deal with Russia to buying gas and oil. So because of that, that 50% tariff was imposed. And then also Brazil, Lula has now bilaterally or unilaterally agreed with the United States also to get their coffee, the Brazilian coffee, to get market in the US. So without that tariff. So he kind of, he's maneuvering and managed so far now. This India and Brazil are the founding members of BRICS. Now, instead of BRICS having a united voice, now these countries, even if big in economy, are doing their bilateral, unilateral, when I say independent of BRICS, signing that deal with US. They don't want to be banned or sanctioned by the United States. So he managed his way to get into the business of the BRICS founders even. So what he should have done is Ramaphosa, using this opportunity, gather all of them, use prime minister like Modi, and then, come up with a strong statement from that represents that that brings all those like France, Canada, Italy, because they all have been impacted by the US additional tariff. They know that, so at least they could have shared that with you. South Africa, that's the way you should have done it, not unilaterally. So the other thing what South Africa should do is first of all, what other things that Trump will do, as I read it in the message on X, he said all the aids will be cut. So already there's a $440 million annually given for South Africa. So that has come down after this white genocide narrative entered in White House. That has come down to $150 million, and also the climate finance, which South Africa uses for energy transition, and this and that. So the country has already been affected. So what is there to lose? And also there are minerals that are important for the United States that are going from South Africa to the United States. So ban cuts those minerals. You have to speak. If you are saying in your statement, President Ramaphosa, that South Africa is a sovereign country and worthy of to be in a global platform, shows that you are not begging, shows that you can take a decision. In fact, I will share with you on a separate video with you. South Africa now has ditched the payment system SWIFT, which is in the US and the West. I mean, the whole world is using that. So that's where they have weakened Russia by cutting Russia from the SWIFT payment system. So now South Africa has already, I think as of yesterday, entered to an agreement with one of the South African bank to use an alternative payment system created by China, okay? So you have to speak in a language that the US understand. And guess what? That's the only time US Donald Trump will respect you and go back to his place, because we have seen it. Others have done it. Now, and another question, what may be asked is that what led Donald Trump to do this, to go this far against South Africa. Look, there is South Africa's stance against Israel, the Israel-Palestine conflict. South Africa has dragged, its lawyers has dragged Israel to the Hague. Allegedly Israel committed genocide against Palestine, that they are not willing to drop that case. Okay, they are still on it. And South Africa is ambitious on a multipolar world, and it's a founding member of BRICS, and there's a talk of de-dollarization, and it has a strong relationship with Russia. So during apartheid, they are cashing like one by one who did what, because Israel supported at that time apartheid in South Africa. The United States actually equipped those white people who were committing apartheid against South Africans. So these two countries were sponsoring apartheid, the United States and Israel, in South Africa. So they know when they stand by Palestine, they know exactly what they are doing. This is something that will not change in South Africa's policy. So let me just go back. I just remembered how Ramaphosa has done enough to mend this relation. He has done, as I said, I have listed. But one other thing that I forgot is, you remember how Musk is powerful in feeding this false narrative of white genocide, this and that, to Trump. And now he has managed now to bring his Starlink to South Africa. South Africa he was given exceptionally, because he was denied before. He did not want to respect the rules and regulations when a foreigner come, like white people, these business people come and invest in South Africa. There is this thing, I forgot its name, but you have to let 30% of it to be owned by also Black people, to buy a share, to be part of it, and the government as well. He didn't want, he just want to come and get that free space and do his business. So he was denied for that. Guess what? After that meeting in White House, after Trump embarrassed Ramaphosa, then Musk has found his way to bring his Starlink exceptionally without selling any percentage from his business, neither to the government nor to Black people, Black business owners in South Africa. So South Africa has done enough. Now this is the time to reciprocate the right way and action, the way the US is communicating with South Africa. That should be the way. Now, to say, so these are the conditions. This is what laid. It's not really, he knows that there's no genocide. Trump knows there's no genocide, white genocide committed by South Africans. He just want to revenge South Africa for bringing Israel, allegedly accusing of genocide against the Palestine. So they want them to drop that case. That is the bottom of it, okay? In terms of diplomacy, look, the ambassador, this is another one. The South Africa's ambassador to the United States has been rejected. You all know how he returned back to South Africa and he received a hero welcome in South Africa because of his stance and reflecting his country's stance of policy in the United States. So he was expelled. Now, United States is now not taking any ambassador from South Africa, but in return, it's appointing its ambassador. I told you earlier, it's chargé d'affaires right now. Guess what? Now they appointed their ambassador, and his name is, go Google him, Brett Bozell. And this man is known to be a racist. Yes, I call it racist, calling even Madiba, Nelson Mandela, terrorist. So he is very much known for his racist narratives and accusation against South Africa. And that man has been appointed as an ambassador of the United States to South Africa, and South Africa has accepted it. So when I say that South Africa has gone far with this, it has gone far. Now it needs to stop. And how does it stop? It follows the example of China and the like. Now it's not time to follow the rules and regulations of international diplomacy. Follow others how they succeeded. China, when the United States has imposed a tariff, additional tariff, 50% or 100, I think it was 100% additional tariff on Chinese EVs, electric vehicles, in which the Americans were choosing more than Tesla. Then what did the China do? China also did the same. It has imposed on American products additional tariff. The same thing, Europe is the backyard of the United States. They tried to repeat the same on the electric vehicles of China. China did the same against Western products. Those all big production, even their own car markets, car manufacturing companies are also in China. So China applied the same. It communicated to the United States in a language that it understands. And guess what? Now they need to reverse it. They have to work it out because they can't afford it. Even their own business people in Europe have to advise the European Union. This will bring a repercussion. So you have to think twice before you impose this tariff against China. So this is, in my view, how South Africa or Ramaphosa should have responded, and still there is time, and also fight back collectively, not unilaterally. Bring Africans, those AU member states, go to BRICS, go check your networks and come back collectively and hit back collectively. Other things now, so what is the alternative way from US for Africa? Because now it's not only South Africa. Donald Trump is just also, it was a few weeks ago, actually a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, it's speaking now, picking on Nigeria, allegedly accusing Christian killing. I don't know if he used the term genocide, but there is this Christian, that's what he said. And Nigeria is purposely, deliberately letting the Christians die in Nigeria. So it's speaking on that, and he talked about some kind of intervention. So he does it now with South Africa, and then sanctions this, sanctions that. So now Africans, this will not stop on Nigeria. This will not stop on South Africa. So it will continue, okay? So they have to teach a lesson to the Donald Trump's administration, and what they have to do is they have to check their alternative. So what is the alternative away from US for Africa? I tell you what, check on your own backyard. This is a time to reorient, to do business within Africa, not out of Africa. It's enough what we have, the resources, the market, everything. It's enough what we have. Now, it has been signed and ratified by a number of countries. This is actually the number one agenda, one of those flagship projects of the continent that has been ratified quickly by the member states of the African Union. But guess what? To bring it down on ground, to implement it, it's a big problem, because countries are joining this little sovereignty that they have against, each other. So they don't want to give up that by surrendering to a political union. So but this is the time to open your borders and do business within Africa. You will be more profitable than what you do business across the world. In fact, devaluing your currencies, this and that. So this is the time to bring back and speed up the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. You may ask again, you wonder why Donald Trump is doing this. I mean, so desperate, right? Yeah, guess what? I will give you a simple line, a simple answer. Because US is declining, whether you like it or not. US, the United States, is declining. It's no more the most powerful country in the world. No, there are other countries as well. So it's time to add, they don't want to admit that. So this is how they play it. For how long this will continue? Well, apparently there are two options. He might just continue to play like this, and then until another election happen, or he might lose it even in the midterm election, and then, you know, he will start to correct things. But for today, I want to leave South Africa with this lesson. I want to bring you, South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa. You have to respond to the United States. Yes, I said collectively as well, but also you have to look at how the Sahel. One example is Mali, how Mali responded to the United States when they brought that bond visa, imposing on Malians who traveled, whether it's diplomats, business, tourists, imposing that visa bond in which the payment is, it ranges between 5,000 till 15,000 US dollar. Guess what? In 24 hours, the Malian government, being a Malian revolutionary government, they have introduced the same and issued a visa bond against US travelers, be it a tourist, be it a business, be it a diplomat. Guess what? In less than a week, the US said, I have lifted back all the visa bond. You know why? Because the US need Africa more than Africa need the United States. And these leaders have understood it. Why is it so hard for our leaders to grasp that and to play with that power? I just don't understand. In the meantime, the people in South Africa have expressed their opposition during G20, telling the US to get out. They did not participate anyway, but and kind of concerned what these sanctions will bring. Well, the president, there are great examples to learn from. So I would say to resort those, play it like the Sahel, play it like Mali, like Burkina Faso. Also, when they say we do not accept any African deportees because Africans have dignity. Those who comes with their will, Burkina Faso will accept, but those who are deported, no, we will not accept. These leaders have guts. You know what? Allow me to say, they have balls to stand off against the United States. And you, President Cyril Ramaphosa, this is a time for you to play it and show, to amend the embarrassment you brought by being there, sitting there in White House, not defending Julius Malema, and the embarrassment you brought all African people. This is the time for you to amend that and put South Africa to make it stand tall. That was it for now. Thank you very much for joining me. And let us know in the comment section what do you think of this spat between the United States and South Africa. Let me just go and quickly check. child of God. South Africa is missing the entire point of why Trump is taking that stance against South Africa. It's because, yeah, exactly. I don't think they missed it, but they are just playing it along. But they need to show some balls. They need to stand long. We have seen it from the Malian government. We have seen it from China. So show some respect to your own people. Ramaphosa is acting like a fanboy of yeah. So thank you, child of God, and John Gurney for 95. Thank you for all for tuning in. Please let us know in the comment section what do you think of this ongoing escalation between the two countries. Do you like the response from let us know also your view on the response of South Africa's president to Donald Trump. It's a bye-bye for me for now, and I will see you on the next one. Ciao, ciao.